Hey guys, what's up? With us getting this close to the release of Cyberpunk 2077 and some people actually stealing some physical copies from retailers, be very careful of leaks for the next few weeks. It does look like there won't be any more delays, so the hype is real. Today we're going to take a look at all the gameplay we've seen so far and do a full breakdown of the character customization options, skills, attributes, and some of the mods that we can make to cyberware, clothing, and weapons. Hopefully this will help you get a grasp of what CDPR calls the fluid class system and theorycraft what kind of playstyle you will be aiming for. This is the Cyber Informant, and let's dive right in. To start, you choose a body type. This is pretty simple, but keep in mind that genitals are locked to the body type you pick, so you can't have a female body type with male genitalia. After that, you dive into the deep end of cosmetic customization. There are some presets on the left, including the preset for the gameplay and trailer versions of male and female V. On the right, you can see that Cyberpunk is using a preset style configuration. We have an abundance of options to choose from, ranging from hairstyles, cyberwear, facial scars, and tattoos, and so on. I would have loved to see a slider-based system for maximum customizability, but I know why CDPR went with this style. So photo mode has been confirmed by CDPR. And they did say that we can actually see V in photo mode and make V pose for us if we want. Maybe some of the poses will include changes to facial expressions and animations, and they would be a lot more realistic and easier to animate with presets over sliders. With all that said, I can't wait to see some of the Vs that everybody will be creating. Next up, we have some of the most densely packed information we've seen recently. We are going to start with cyberware. This is the bread and butter of your character. Your choices of cyberware will influence your playstyle heavily, whether that's going to be an all-melee build with upgraded mantis blades or a stealthy netrunner with Cyberdeck memory for days. On the top left, we've got the frontal cortex and the ocular system. This is where the Kuroshi eye implant is located, one of the two mandatory cyberware upgrades along with the subdermal grip. These two things combined are what create your HUD. The Kuroshi eye implant to show you information and analyze your surroundings, and the subdermal grip to give you information about the weapon you are using, such as ammo, weapon type, and more. Below that, we have some interesting upgrades such as the immune system. These upgrades are probably resistances. Maybe you are immune to poison effects, or your body can fight off cyber attacks better. The integumentary system could also be really interesting. In the human body, this normally refers to hair, skin, nails, and sweat glands. In this gameplay, we see 3 different skin upgrades equipped. It would be really cool to see something like your sweat glands secrete fire suppressant, so you're basically immune to fire damage. This would be a cool approach because later in the video, you're going to see a big change to the way the defense system works. On the right, we have the operating system. This one is a legendary piece of cyberware called the Raven Microcyber Mark IV. So you can see it has 6 slots for upgrades. Besides the upgrades, its base effects are also pretty interesting. It says here that the spread distance of your quick hacks is increased by 60%. Does that mean we could potentially set off a quick hack that will disrupt a group of enemies instead of just a single person that we selected out of the group? We'll just have to wait and find out. After clicking on the legendary item, we can see different augments that we can make to that piece of cyberware. Since the legendary augment only takes 2 slots and the rare ones next to it take 4, it does look like besides rarity, the effectiveness of the upgrades dictates how many slots it uses. This is going to result in a lot of cool combinations between cyberware and the augments, assuming the augments add more than just stats, which is very likely. There are 3 different types of cyberware: active, passive, and trigger. Active cyberware are things that must be activated by the player. This includes the mantis blades, the monowire, and the projectile launch system, along with others we may not have seen yet. Passive cyberware includes things such as micro rotors, which increase speed and precision, and sin lungs, which improve stamina regen. One of the few trigger type cyberwares that we know of is called the blood pump, which increases healing once a certain condition is met. Now, your body isn't the only thing that can be modified. Weapons can be upgraded with attachments such as scopes, silencers, and more gameplay changing mods such as the ability to make your bullets bounce off walls. Before we take a look at skill trees, I want to show you how increasing your Cyberdeck memory influences combat. You can do simple things like turn off or take control of cameras, all the way to making enemies commit suicide, as you can see here. Next up, let's take a look at the skill trees and attributes. Attributes are the main stat in Cyberpunk, such as technical ability, reflexes, body, intelligence, and cool. First, let's take a look at the reflex stat. Putting points into reflex increases your reaction and attack speed, along with some specific stat buffs, such as increasing your crit chance, dodge chance, and damage with melee cyberware. Along with all that, putting points into reflex also increases the speed at which you gain proficiency with weapons such as rifles, pistols, and blades. Unlike the next few attributes, your proficiency with weapons is not capped at the level of your reflex attribute. CDPR probably made this decision so anyone going a build that doesn't put points into reflex won't have an awful time using weapons. Putting points into technical ability increases your armor by 5% for each point, and your proficiency in crafting and engineering, along with your proficiency using tech weapons and your effectiveness against drones, mechs, and robots. Engineering allows you to hotwire cars, reconfigure electrical panels, and unlike reflex, the proficiency level in engineering and crafting is capped at whatever level your technical ability is. We haven't seen much about crafting, but we do know a few skills that I will get into later in the video. Next up, we have the body stat. This one is pretty self-explanatory. It increases your max health and impacts gameplay wherever brute strength is needed. So things like heavy weapons, ripping open doors, and turrets, along with using people as human shields. Now we have one of my favorite attributes, which is intelligence. This is impacted heavily by your choice in operating system, like the Raven Microcyber Mark IV, which we saw earlier. Your ability to infect enemies and equipment with various daemons increases as you put points into intelligence and its skills. The last attribute is cool. This has to do with staying calm under pressure. This stat is the cornerstone of a stealthy assassin playthrough. All these stats also give you the ability to unlock different dialogue options available to you during certain encounters. Now let's take a look at what happens when you click into one of the main attributes. You're going to see a screen like this. This one is for reflexes, and there are plenty of skills to unlock and level up. Under the rifle skill tree, we get to see things like the bullseye skill, which increases your damage with rifles, and the Punisher skill, which removes weapon sway for a few seconds after killing an enemy. For handguns, we have seen a redacted skill which gives you an armor boost for a few seconds after landing a critical hit. Now under the blades tree, we do get to see two skills. Flight of the Sparrow, which reduces the stamina cost of all attacks with blades by 50%. This skill is available early on, so anyone going for a melee build will not be struggling early in the game. To complement that, we also have the skill Slow and Steady. This increases your armor by 15% at level 1 and 30% at level 2 while you are moving, so you can fly around the battlefield without worrying too much about the damage you're taking. Some other skills that we've seen in the past include Dragon Strike, which makes your strong attacks apply a bleed effect and do more damage. Ninja turns you basically into Genji, so you can block and deflect bullets and allows you to dash around. Unfair Advantage lets you take down tanky enemies more easily by making you do more damage to enemies with more max HP than you. For technical skills, we have a few perks for crafting and engineering, such as Master Gunsmith, which gives you a chance to get a prototype component every time you craft something. R&D lets you upgrade items to higher quality levels, even as high as Legendary. Revamp, which increases the sale price of crafted items. And crafting also helps with making things like consumables and mods for your clothing and other items, but we have yet to see this in action. As for the engineering tree, we have things such as reverse engineering, which allows you to remove weapon mods. This means until you unlock this skill, mods are permanent additions to your items. Mech Looter, which allows you to loot the remains of drones, robots, and mechs with a chance to get weapon parts. Crazy Science, which improves damage with tech weapons. Shrapnel, which increases your explosive damage. Grenadier allows you to see the explosion radius of grenades. And to complement that, we have Blast Shielding, and you can't touch this. Blast Shielding reduces blast damage you take, and the latter making you immune to damage from your own grenades. Under the body tree, we know about the Street Brawler, Athletic, and Annihilation trees. Street Brawler has the skill Gorilla, which increases your crit chance after a kill. The athletic tree has some of the most skills that we know about so far. Pack Mule, basically a must for your first playthrough, doubles your carry capacity. Invincible, it just increases your max health. Superhero Landing, which reduces fall damage. Multitasker, which allows you to shoot while sprinting, sliding, and jumping. Regeneration, which allows you to regenerate health while in combat. And Gladiator, which reduces the damage taken while blocking. Under the Annihilation tree, we have a redacted skill which gives you 50% recoil reduction after dismembering an enemy. Now let's take a look at the intelligence perks. Under target hacking, we have Master Memory, which increases memory regen speed. Under device hacking, we have the Transmigration, which increases breach time protocol by 25%. Lastly, we have the Cool attribute. In the Cold Blood tree, we have Merciless, which increases your crit chance and damage when you fall below 40% HP. Under the Stealth section, we have quite a few skills that we know of. Hasty Retreat, which gives you movement speed when spotted. Ninjutsu, which gives all stealth attacks with melee weapons more damage and crit chance. Dagger Dealer, which allows you to use throwing knives. Toxicology, which increases the duration of your poison effects. Embrace the Shadow, which gives you HP regen while in stealth. Crouching Tiger increases movement speed while stealth. And Stunning Blow, which makes your fast melee attacks stagger enemies. I have to say, I love the names that CDPR gave these skills, and I can't wait to see the rest. I hope most of the skills in the game are more gameplay changing instead of just stat boosts. But I understand that CDPR don't want to show off all the really wild abilities just yet. Lastly, we've got the inventory screen. You have equipment slots for 3 weapons, 1 headpiece, 1 mask, 2 slots for upper body, 2 slots for lower body, and something called special. I imagine this is some sort of full body suit that gives special bonuses, potentially maybe an exoskeleton. On the bottom right, we've got your quick access consumables, like grenades and healing items, followed by your Cyberdeck. Since your Cyberdeck is on this screen, that probably means you can change what kind of hacks are available to you in the Cyberdeck on the fly. Now for the big change. If you look at the bottom left with the armor, health, and stamina stats, it looks like they have removed specific elemental resistances from the game. We used to see items give specific resistances such as fire, electricity, and so on. That being said, we do have mod slots on these items, which could give them these resistances back just in a different way. That's all the information we've got for today, but I do want to remind everyone of something that I had forgotten for a bit. Enemies will have cyberware as well, such as this cyber cycle right here with the mantis blades that you probably have to throw down with at some point. Let me know what you guys think about the skill system in Cyberpunk down in the comments below. If you liked the video, hit like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, catch you guys in the next one.